Today, I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to go ahead and review a product from Game Envy. What's up, everybody? I am Impendingduff. Thank you for coming to the channel and checking out the video today. I'm going to be reviewing a product by Game Envy. Yes, they are a sponsor of mine. No, they did not pay me to make this video. They did send me the product for the current Kickstarter. I was able to assemble it, and I'm going to give it my own fair and unbiased opinion on it. I decided to use this as my first review because it's an interesting product that I think I can do a review on and present an unbiased opinion. So let's do a cutaway here real quick, do the actual unboxing and building of it so you guys can see what it takes. It didn't take very long at all, but I am going to speed up the video just for the interest of a shorter video here. Alright, so not sure if this is exactly how it's going to come when you guys receive it from your Kickstarter, but general guess is it will. It is rigidly backed by cardboard. It's rigid itself, so I really don't see it really having any issues with any shipment breaking. Overall, I think it's packed really well. Just cardboard backing here with the acrylic laid out nice and flat here. And in a bag, it did come in a hefty doubled over bubble mailer. So here's a bunch of the parts. There's some paper backing on the matte black parts for the cell phone holder, so I'm going to go ahead and cut that out, peeling that off. That doesn't need to be seen. And here we are with all of the parts now removed of that film. I'm just going to go ahead and speed up the video here in a few seconds. Going to go to 5 times speed because I don't think we need to really sit here and watch it minute for minute, second for second. But here I'm going to start assembling the cell phone holder. And I think this thing can double. He hasn't advertised it as much, but I've seen from different companies this could double as an instruction holder, which I think would be really useful for a lot of things. So this thing is, it's a great feature. I'm often looking for somewhere to put my cell phone, especially when I'm streaming. I think this little holder is pretty slick. It's very similar to their Brush Bastion, which also can be slotted into the space where the cell phone holder goes. So the assembly is really easy. It's got these mechanical screws that you basically slot into these little slots. Go figure. The nuts for the screw actually kind of sit in a recess that is specifically designed so you only need to basically finger tighten the screw down. That's really convenient. Here I am grabbing all of the clear green acrylic pieces. He sent me green because Impendingduff, right? Those all slot really nicely. This didn't come with instructions. I'm going to guess that the Kickstarter is going to come with instructions. I built the rank 1, rank 3, and rank 5, so I kind of know how these things go together. But for someone who doesn't, it might be a little confusing. So here I am kind of adjusting things. I put in 2 screws just to kind of secure everything before I put the rest of the screws in. You'll notice the one on the right is a little taller, the one that I'm working on right now. That's for a feature that I'll show you in kind of the feature breakdown, if you will. But the general overall assembly, it's quick and easy. It took me maybe 15 minutes to do this. I'm OCD, so when it comes to tightening down all the screws and stuff, like, they have to be perfect. I know I'm an anomaly. It's stupid. I know it's ridiculous, but that's just how I roll. So I forgot the little back piece here. It doesn't matter. As long as you don't put the nuts down on the screws there, you'll be able to slide it in just fine. But you can see, generally, I mean, I don't necessarily need the screwdriver or the pliers, but I like everything perfectly tightened. Being the OCD crazy that I am, I'm surprised I didn't bring a torque wrench. But you can see, it's pretty simple. It goes together really quick with minimal tools. That's really about it. Let's get into actually breaking down what the Desk Wizard can do for you. Let's go through some pros and cons, if you will. Alright, so I'm going to slow this back down to real time. This is basically where the cell phone holder goes there. And it holds my iPhone just fine. That extended screw that I showed you earlier, that's for holding your hobby holder. If you don't have the extended handle on it, it fits really nicely on there. I throw a quick model that I had within arm's reach on there. I use these hobby holders like mad. If you've seen my stream or any of my videos, I use these things religiously. They are amazing products. No different is the Desk Wizard with how quality the work and the craftsmanship is on this. So that's kind of a look down on it to see exactly what everything looks like. Now, what I didn't kind of profile here is that you can actually angle up the Desk Wizard onto that cell phone rack. So it kind of has like a 3-degree canter, if you will. And as you can see, I've got quite a few different paint styles here. I've got the old school Monument paint. I've got P3 paint. I've got Citadel washes. I've got Scale 75. I've got all kinds of stuff. I've got the new school Monument. I've got Reaper paints. It all fits in here. And the nice thing is those small little holes at the bottom of the bigger holes, that's meant, as you can see, for the Scale 75, how I put it upside down. For those of you who like to store your paints upside down, it's great for that. And that was just the larger formatted Monument Pro Acryl bottle that I put in there. Pretty much everything fits in there. Even that orange cap, that's a decanted Citadel paint that I put in, I don't know, 20 millimeter bottles. Milliliter. And then, of course, you can store your brushes in these smaller holes next to the hobby holder majigger. There's a brush rest in the front, if you will. Store your paints all upside down. You do whatever you want with them, but one of the things I'm really looking forward to is that there's a stretch goal, I think it's called on Kickstarter. Sorry, I don't do many Kickstarters, but there's a stretch goal on Kickstarter for guards to fit the 750 milliliter corks, and that's something I need desperately because I pin a lot of models, and these corks are actually the Game Envy corks that he specifically makes, and they have a 750 milliliter bottom, but they're a 32 millimeter base, so that extension is going to hold those snugly, even though this actually holds the corks just fine, specifically only the Game Envy ones. But having that expansion to put on top of these Desk Wizards will be invaluable. And you can see the cell phone holder kind of would double as a instruction holder, if you will. So even for you Gundam folks, this is a great option. I hate having my instructions just laying on my desk. It drives me nuts, and it takes up space that I don't want to give up. So it's a really good feature to have. It's a little wobbly. I had mentioned that if you hook it on the top of those little hooks for the cell phone holder, then it'll be a little more sturdy. But I really like the design of it all together. So let me take out all this stuff, and then I'll show you a couple more features real quick. Something that I'm really kind of encouraged about. I personally am not going to be using mine for paint like this per se, because I've got a rank 5 for all my washes. But what's really cool is there's these kind of slots on the sides, if you will, and that's intended for basically expansion to connect more of these. You can see it's a nice, cool, sleek design. You saw that slot on the side that I just kind of briefly showed. I'll show it again here in a second, but that's intended to be able to link these together as well as future designs. There could be curved ones. We don't know. The sky's the limit. I've talked with Kit. He said he's got all kinds of great ideas for these things. So we'll see what happens. Kind of showing off the matte finish, which I think is a phenomenal choice. There's those slots for the expansions. They're on both sides. That's great. You can even link another 14 or 2 10s to it. There is no slot in the, I'm looking at my 5 right now. There is no slots in the 5s, but I imagine going forward they will be. I'm not quite sure what this notch is for. Maybe just a logo placement. But Maybe he didn't have enough space for another hole. I don't know. Um, but altogether, it's sharp. So there it is, put together. It looks great. So now that we've broken down the product, let's go ahead and take a look at the pros and cons. I have to write lists straight up. So I've got some lists. If you see me kind of looking down, that's what I'm doing. But let's talk about the pros first. I mean, 14 slots, that's a really good number, I think, for being able to pull off paints from maybe your storage racks. Like I have a bunch of storage racks on the side here. They keep all my paints out of the way, but as projects progress, I pull them off and they're strewn about my whole desk. You should see my desk. It's a mess, right? This thing, even the 10's a good number. I hardly ever use more than 10, 14 colors for a project anyway, especially if I'm doing something like Necrons or Space Marines or whatever. It's a good number for all your washes, your inks, your paints, everything. It's a good number. The construction's really solid. I think the choice of using acrylic over something like MDF is great for long-term storage that's not going to get handled and abused and used so much. Using acrylic for something like this is perfect. Not only does it give you the option of having flashy colors, which actually happens to be another one of my pros, it's essentially indestructible for what we're using it for. Can you take it into a mosh pit and hope that it'll survive? Probably not, but I mean, what does? It's solid construction. The screws hold everything together real nice, but that's something that I'm also going to touch on in the cons. The other thing is I really like the adapters and the expansion acceptability. The slots on the side will allow you to link 2, 3, 4 of these. There's even an arena that is a stretch goal. That's really cool. I'm not going to do any spoilers on this, but you can attach another rank 14 or rank 10 to each other in another fashion that I think is really cool. The other thing is it fits pretty much every paint line. I have so many paints, as you saw in the video there. I generally only use Pro Acryl. I have that normal format bottle with Reaper paints, scale paints, the old Pro Acryl. I'm looking at my paints now, Secret Weapon, Army Painter washes, but then that new format Pro Acryl, the bigger, fatter bottle, fits in there just fine, same as Citadel wash bottles. So it's great for adaptability. You pretty much don't have to worry. Even the decanted Citadel paints that I have that are in, I think, 20 or 30 milliliter bottles, I don't remember how big they are, but they're quite fat. They fit. They're perfect. Another thing is the brush rest on the front. I tend to use their brush the brush beam, this little gadget here that just simply sits on my desk and supports my brushes when I need to put them down to reach for paint or switch brushes, whatever. It's got brush rest built right into the front of that thing, and I think that's convenient for someone like me who puts down their brushes or switches a lot from synthetics to natural or whatever different sizes I like to use. The main focus of the Desk Wizard, the pro that I see out of this, is it keeps your damn desk tidy. That's what it's meant to do. There's not much to elaborate on that except for the fact that if you could see my desk, I'll put in a picture, one of these sides of me, put in a picture here and show you exactly what my desk looks like right now and how I could use it to keep it organized. I actually have it up organizing some of my batch painting Necrons that are on cork right now. That's actually what I'm going to use this one for, but I've got another one coming in the Kickstarter, and I'm probably going to get another one because these things are perfect for so many different uses. I had kind of touched on it before. Great colors. He sent me black and green. Green's my favorite color. Green is one of the primary colors of the Impendingduff logos. There are so many colors now as stretch goals. That's something that I think Game Envy does really well, and I'm looking around at all the different hobby holders I have from throughout the 2.5 years I've been working with them. I've got all kinds of different colored hobby holders. Having those options really is nice to be able to customize something, to personalize it, if you will. Who doesn't like to personalize something? So I think that's really cool. And of course, finally, affordability. I mean, something like this, I could easily see somebody jacking the price up to like $35, $40. You're sitting at $18 for a rank 10 and $22 for a rank 14. That's USD, of course, US dollars. honestly, I think that's a killer price point. That's something where I'm gonna look at it and say, yes, I would purchase that. I look at it as maybe a band shirt. I've gone to a gazillion concerts in my life, and I predominantly wear heavy metal T-shirts, even at 36 years old. It is what it is, right? But I go to a concert like a Metallica concert. I love Metallica. If you know me, Metallica's God. Last Metallica concert I went to, I think the T-shirts were $60 for a T-shirt. Like, sorry, Metallica, but no, hell no. If it weren't for my wife egging me on, I wouldn't have even bought one. But that's besides the fact. But maybe I go to a Hatebreed concert or a Carnifex concert or something, and the T-shirts are $15-20. That's fair for me. For my brain, $20 is fair. I think this is a really fair price for this product for all the work and the engineering that Kit, the owner of Game Envy, had to do. I think it's a great price point. Nobody likes this part. But in order to be fair and impartial, I've got to give the cons, right? The first con has to be the screw construction. I really don't care for the screws holding it together. I know it might be kind of a petty thing, but if I'm just reaching for something blindly, I might nick my hand, cut my knuckle. I mean, I've got a cut on my index knuckle right now that's actually healing from very similar. I reached for something on my desk and clobbered the corner of a rack that I have. Sometimes I'm not always looking, so I'm not a big fan of it. Is it that big of an issue to where I'm not going to buy it? Not at all. Not at all. I just think that gluing it together would be better. But for those of you who are impatient, don't want to wait for glue to set, especially with acrylic, which is quite difficult to actually get glued together. Super glue will hold, but you need almost like a plastic glue. There's a specific glue that you can use that acts very similar to plastic glue in the fact that it melts it together. But then you're losing the ability to break it down to, even if you buy two different colors, you can mix and match the colors even. So it kind of gets rid of that ability to customize it even more. It's a petty thing to call a con, but for me, I'm not a huge fan of it. The brush storage holes, the 4 little holes on either side that you're supposed to stand your brushes up all vertically, for me, that's a huge no on that, just because it's so shallow. The whole desk wizard itself is like an inch and a quarter tall at best. And if you're going to be storing your brushes, it's basically Kolinsky Sable death to store your brushes straight up and down with the bristles pointing in the air. It's always best to store your brushes bristles down. The reason being is we don't want any residual water, paint soaking down further into that ferrule, destroying that brush, splaying those bristles out. So store your bristles down, you're good. With that 1 inch space, especially with something like my Game Envy brushes, go figure, I've got about an inch worth of space between the plastic and the very bristles here. So this is really only going to sit there. With my Monument brushes, it's only going to go to about here on the ferrule, right? So if I accidentally hit, like I did with my hand on the rack, if I hit that brush, I run the risk of potentially damaging that ferrule, even bending it. So for me, I'm probably not going to use it for brush storage. I'll find some other use for it. Who knows, maybe I can find a skinny banana and store it in there too, right, Kit? Kind of along the same lines, since it's in the same area as the brush kind of storage area, I'm not a huge fan of the hobby holder peg, just because it's a giant screw sticking up. Again, there's potential to bend it. I think it's a great way to save your holder if you're just using the base holder. I always work with these, essentially the handles, which they pop right off. This whole base fits on that screw, like I showed in the video. But I like to keep mine on the handle. It's great for just painting along. It's really nice, fits in my hand great. And I'm able to rotate it as I paint. So it's not really going to work with this type of hobby holder, but it's great for the base. At the same time, I kind of see it going bad as far as potentially hurting myself or maybe hitting a project that's sitting there and bending it. And my final con is kind of another petty one. I kind of feel like most of my cons are slightly petty, but I'm okay with that. This is my personal opinion. You might find something completely different to what I say. So, the cell phone holder, it's kind of hard to see because I have a black shirt on and the lights are dimmed low, but the cell phone holder, killer concept. I need somewhere to leave my cell phone, especially when I'm streaming, right? This one tends to be a little flimsy. However, what I didn't show in the video is that you can rest Desk Wizard rank 14 or 10 on top of it, slotting into these hooks here, okay? So your Desk Wizard kind of has a little bit of an angle that will help to keep that stability. He did just come out with a stretch goal this week of a beefier cell phone holder. So I think that will also help with things. It's a little taller, it's a little wider, and it'll also allow you to hold instructions and box art. So the options are endless with that. My con is kind of debunked here by the stretch goal. Before I had filmed the body of this video, that stretch goal hadn't been met yet, and I didn't know about it. So all in all, I'm going to have to give this product an 8.5 out of 10 metal horns. I think it's a great product. It has a ton of functionality. There are a lot of options for you to be able to do different things with it. I'm really looking forward to that stretch goal with the cork holders, specifically for batch painting. I'm really looking forward to this project. I think it's killer. All the different color options are amazing, and the price point is on point. I wouldn't hesitate to back this product. If you don't care for Kickstarters, I'm kind of shy of Kickstarters, but Game Envy has proven time and time again they get their stuff done and they get it out quick. That's what I like from a Kickstarter. I think you should have full confidence backing this Kickstarter. That's all I got for you guys. Thank you so much. This was a little bit different video for me. Don't forget to subscribe down below. I think you do that. There's a bell you guys got to hit too, right? Do me a favor, give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Do the subscribe thing, and we'll see you on the next one. A big shout out goes out to all my patrons. Appreciate you guys. I'll leave links for everything on how to get a hold of me, Impendingduff, down below. I've got Twitch streams 3 days a week. I do a Patreon that focuses on teaching, one-on-one classes for painting. All my links for social will be down below in the description, as well as a link for the Kickstarter. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, gang.